Hello there, I'm Vigalius. My daily routine, narrated by an Attenborough, over an instrumental to keep it thorough. It's Billy Woods and Kenny Seagal, Soft Landing. That's not what we're here to talk about tonight, though. We're hitting with that grind again, as you may be able to see. We're back on the hustle grind. Make sure you buy my course where I tell you to grind and hustle, and you pay me lots of money to do that. And that makes me super rich. And we're going to talk about Modern Warfare today, Modern Warfare 3, because Season 1 is finally freaking here. For all intents and purposes, the game has now fully launched. Everything is there now, Warzone is there, and we can prestige. I'm sorry, but I don't consider a Call of Duty game to have fully launched until you can prestige. And now we finally can, and now the game's out, and we can talk about Season 1. The opening to this game. It's the only game where Season 1 comes a month later for no freaking reason whatsoever, but we've gone on about that enough. With this season, obviously we've got a new Battle Pass, don't care about that. We've got Warzone, which we're not going to talk about today. We have Prestiging, and they've added a couple of new maps in for good measure, and a bunch of changes as well. Now, I would have been happy if they had just added Prestiging. I was very much looking forward to playing this game and actually getting something out of it again, rather than just jumping in, playing around, and really having nothing to show for it. So that was enough to pull me in, and that was honestly all I needed. Unfortunately, that wasn't all we got, and they pushed the boat out, and they had to include these other maps. They're integrating new maps from Modern Warfare, old maps, from Modern Warfare 2 into 3, and they've moved all the weapons over from 2 to 3 as well, which is cool, but seems to be a bit of an issue because this game runs so much worse now. It really does. Like, I didn't have any issues when the game came out, and I'm getting them now. I'm getting issues now. Like, I loaded the game, and the first thing I was immediately greeted with was a little text box saying, hey, this file's corrupted. We're going to have to reset all of your loadouts, weapons, and rank. And I read online that I think a lot of people are getting this, if not everyone's getting this. Top tip, you can actually just jump in, and it doesn't reset everything. The only thing it does to, annoyingly, is reset your loadouts. So you have to make those all again, but you have all of the weapons unlocked, and they're all at the level that you'd want them to be, with the camo that you want them to have, that you've been working on. Also, unfortunately, annoyingly, it resets the frickin' menus, so you have the stupid, annoying freaking UI tutorials everywhere you go on the stupid UI, and you're trying to fix your loadout or find new things to add to your weapon and stuff like that, and you're just constantly skipping through freaking tool tip screens that you've already skipped through a month ago. For Christ's sake, Sledgehammer, they're so invasive and annoying. I hate them, and they're back. We have to do them again because the whole system kind of resets itself. Also, jumping into a game, I would say I've had a couple of issues that I didn't have previously, where, for example, the HUD will just disappear while it's doing the countdown loading into the game, and then reappear just before the game starts. The overall look of the game has actually changed quite a bit. They've made a fair few changes visually to this game, particularly with lighting. There's a very sort of 7th gen approach to lighting now in this game that wasn't there previously, where the items that are quite dark, there's a very strong sort of false, obviously fake light source that particularly shows up when you're in dark shadowed areas. It's really hard to explain. It's very emphasized, and honestly, it doesn't look very visually appealing. It doesn't look good. Fortunately, it looks it did a lot of this back in the original Modern Warfare 2, so it is actually quite nostalgic to see this. But in terms of the fact that we're now on Gen 9, it's kind of a little bit unacceptable to see stuff like this. I've also noticed that players pop a little bit more, and I think this is intentional as well. But I've also noticed that every now and then I can see through the ground. In my first game, it simply wouldn't let me choose the loadout that I had, and gave me a couple of completely random weapons. I didn't even know if I had unlocked both of them, to be honest with you. They just gave me a completely random loadout with random weapons. And for a while, the gameplay didn't feel quite as smooth initially. Now, I will say a lot of these issues did go after a while, but they were definitely present where they definitely weren't during the launch. I actually thought this game had a very smooth launch before Season 1. Now, thanks to all of these quote-unquote fixes, it does have issues. There are also a couple of maps. Yeah, they're fine. they're very like mid. They're tremendously mid. There's a reason I didn't open with the maps. One of them was called Meat. It's quite small. It's set in a meat market, obviously. Very corridor heavy. It's fairly fun. Very sort of action packed and crazy. It's not a bad map. It's just a very average small map. Feels very Infinity Ward as well. And there's some sort of training site, which it's just fine. It's another small one. Oddly enough, they just chucked a couple of very small maps in. You can't ever think like, oh, why even bother? You know, what's the point? Why even bother with this? But yeah, they just chucked a couple of small maps in there. The training site one is just a generic, like, you know, the wood cutout sort of training things. Again, a very sort of Infinity Ward-esque map actually, and it's just okay. You know, it's definitely nothing special. Oh, there was something else, and I completely forgot what it was. Oh yeah, I was right. There's no classic Modern Warfare playlist, which is very disappointing. It means that we now, a month into a game where the entire focus was on creating a nostalgic experience that would never be interrupted, it will now be interrupted. So earlier I was playing and I had the option to play on a map called Greece. I guess that maybe I've just realized maybe there are 3 maps. I haven't touched Greece yet. Oh, I've just realised that. There's 3 maps. There's a map called Greece, I guess. So it's no longer just a completely ubiquitous, universal nostalgic experience that can be interrupted now. And I looked, and there's no way to disable certain maps. So that kind of sucks. No new game types either, from what I can tell, other than obviously Meat 24/7 and stuff like that. So it's fine. You know, it's cool that we can finally prestige now, but it feels as though the payoff for this was just a little bit more than I'd have wanted it to be. It's such a shame that slowly over time this game is going to become less and less nostalgic, and that really sucks. That was the main appeal of the game. That was why most of us bought it to begin with, was for nostalgia, and slowly that's just going to fall away from us as they add more and more maps, and that really sucks, but we'll see how things go. I am enjoying the game. You know, I'm having a great time. I came back into the game, and it's just hard not to enjoy this game. It's a very good game, and I am having a very good time with it. But like I said, the negatives for this season kind of outweigh the positives. So, well, we'll see what we think throughout the season. And I guess I'll see all of you, everyone, in fact, later.